At last, the moment had arrived. The kid from Chicago finally received the grandest welcome his hometown could offer. His jersey was raised into the rafters of the United Center. At this exact moment in time, it feels right to revisit the story of Derrick Rose once more. In that neighborhood, kids drop out of school by 13. Everyone has a gun. They pull the trigger without thinking, without caring who gets hit. That hellish place is where Derrick Rose grew up, Englewood, on Chicago's South Side. By incomplete estimates, more than 4,000 shootings took place there in just the first 16 years of the 21st century. Growing up, Rose lived with his mother and 3 older brothers. They squeezed into a single house with other relatives. By Rose's own recollection, more than half the people in that house were using drugs. Before going to bed, you sometimes had to clear marijuana blunts off the mattress. Rose once cried to his mother, "Can we move?" She answered helplessly, "Baby, we're surviving. We're not living." Tragically, a place called Murray Park became Derrick Rose's promised land. By the age of 10, his talent already echoed across every court. Outsiders mocked it, calling it Murder Park. But in Englewood, there was an unspoken rule. If you weren't an athlete, a scammer, or a drug dealer, you were nobody. That was the last remaining code of the streets. Like that line from Slam Dunk, "Goodbye, sports boy." Whenever anyone got too close to Rose, his brothers stepped in, "Leave him alone. Let him hoop." Whenever gunshots rang out on the street, his mother would rush home, desperate to make sure her son was still alive. They didn't want Derrick Rose to lose his way, and they didn't want him to become the next Ben Wilson. Back in 1984, Englewood had already lost one prodigy. Ben Wilson, the nation's top high school player, was shot and killed during a robbery shortly after receiving a college scholarship. More than 10,000 Chicago residents attended his funeral. His number 25 jersey was permanently retired at Simeon High School. In 2003, Chicago placed that same hope, and that same burden, on Derrick Rose. He put on that number 25 jersey, retired for 19 years, and over his high school career led Simeon to a 120-12 record, winning 2 Illinois state championships. After graduation, among countless powerhouse programs, Rose chose the University of Memphis. That year, John Calipari's offense was simple: DDM, everyone clear out, let Rose attack and kick. And just like that, a freshman guard nearly took over college basketball. Memphis opened the season 26-0. In March Madness, they eliminated Michigan State, Texas, and UCLA, led by Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love, before reaching the national championship game. In overtime, they fell to Kansas. Rose cried afterward. He told Calipari, "Coach, I'm sorry. I didn't get it done." Calipari replied, "What are you talking about? Without you, we wouldn't even be here." In 2008, the boy from Englewood was headed to the NBA. The Chicago Bulls won the number 1 pick with just a 1.7% chance. They debated between Rose and Michael Beasley. GM John Paxson began investigating Rose's brothers. The family's past scared him. Rose told him plainly, "If my brothers are a problem, don't draft me." That summer, David Stern stepped to the podium and called Derrick Rose's name first overall. At Murray Park, Englewood erupted. The kid they watched grow up had crossed violent streets and become Chicago's hero. He won Rookie of the Year, then dropped 36 points and 11 assists in his first playoff game, pushing the defending champion Celtics to a 7-game war. His speed, his explosiveness, the way he twisted through the air. The world was stunned. In his second season, Rose became the youngest All-Star in Bulls history, surpassing Michael Jordan. At Media Day before his third season, a reporter asked, "What are your expectations this year?" Rose looked straight into the camera and said, Why can't I be the league MVP? The internet laughed. LeBron, Kobe, Dwight Howard, all in their primes. Rose was good, but MVP? That season, Rose answered everything. 25 points, 4.1 rebounds, 7.7 assists. The Bulls finished first in the East. He fulfilled his promise, becoming the youngest MVP in NBA history, at 22 years old. After that season, the league literally changed its rules. The Derrick Rose rule was born. No one dared imagine where his ceiling truly was. No one realized that every gift from fate comes with a price. This is where 2012 begins. In the lockout-shortened season, Rose played on and off. In the 39 games he played, the Bulls went 32-7, tied with the Spurs for the league's best record. In the first round of the playoffs, the number 1 seeded Bulls faced the 8th seeded 76ers. It was supposed to be routine. But with 1:22 left in Game 1, on a simple 2-footed hop, with no contact, Derrick Rose went down. The diagnosis came quickly, a torn ACL in his left knee. Rose knew exactly what that meant. Through tears, he asked his mother, "Mom, will my speed ever come back?" What he didn't realize then was that what wouldn't come back wasn't just his speed, it was his health, and the version of himself that was still climbing toward the peak. That September, Derrick Rose attended the launch event for his new signature shoe. When footage of the injury played on the screen, he couldn't hold it together. He cried through nearly the entire event. "I remember being in the air," Rose said. "Every moment on the way down, and the sound of it tearing. It was the closest thing to death I've ever experienced." And tragically, it wouldn't be the last time he felt that way. In October 2013, after 17 months away, Rose finally returned. 10 games later, he tore the meniscus in his right knee. His season was over again. The following year, the young player named Jimmy Butler began to rise. By the 2014-15 season, after 2 devastating injuries, the old Derrick Rose was gone. But the injuries weren't done with him. Midway through the season, his meniscus tore again, this time in the left knee. Derrick Rose refused to accept fate. He told the doctors, "This time, I want to come back fast." The rose was wilting, but the thorns were still there. In Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, Rose beat the Cavaliers at the buzzer with a banked-in jumper. After the shot, surrounded by teammates, he showed no emotion. In the previous 3 years, this man had endured too much. That shot became Rose's final elegy in a Bulls uniform at the United Center. And it was a thunderous one. The next season, the Bulls missed the playoffs, and Rose drifted even farther from his prime. In the summer of 2016, while filming a documentary, Rose received a phone call from his agent. "The Bulls traded you to the Knicks." He was stunned. "You're lying," he said. Then he walked out of the room in tears. From that moment on, Derrick Rose's career became a journey of constant displacement. In New York, he tore his meniscus again. Season over. In Cleveland, Rose said, "It was awkward. I had to play with someone I'd battled against for 4 or 5 years. After being swatted out of the air by Greg Monroe and spraining his left ankle, a thought crossed his mind, maybe this is it." He was exhausted. Physically, mentally, emotionally. And that version of Rose was only 29 years old. Later, he went home. He thought it through. He decided he wanted to keep going, for his son. In 2018, Rose joined the Minnesota Timberwolves. They lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Houston Rockets. After the elimination, Rose said, "I did everything I could. That was James Harden, he was the MVP. But do you remember? 6 years earlier, you were the MVP, the youngest in league history. On October 31st, 2018, amid the snow and wind of Minnesota, fate allowed Derrick Rose to become himself again, just once more. What followed was one of the most emotional games of the decade. Against Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert, Rose attacked the rim 34 times and scored 50 points. MVP chants shook Target Center. That night, Minneapolis smelled like roses. After the game, Rose cried. He once said, "Losing the game I love felt like losing my soul." That night, his soul returned. From that point on, whether in Detroit, New York, or Memphis, Rose let go. He released the obsession. He smiled more. He finally learned to enjoy basketball again. On September 26, 2024, Derrick Rose officially announced his retirement. No one could have imagined that after so much pain and suffering, he would last this long in the NBA. And so this time, when he walked away, there was no regret, only gratitude. You've done enough. Looking back, the 8 years Rose spent in Chicago were unquestionably the most brilliant chapter of his journey. Even though he never led the team to a championship. Even though that chapter was filled with heartbreak. In cold Chicago, Derrick Rose was never just a name. He was a belief. The eternal wind of the Windy City. A rose that never truly faded. His jersey retirement even drew a tribute from Michael Jordan. In an era defined by controversy, he may be the only star who carries almost no hatred. And if you once held your breath as he crossed defenders without slowing down, if you cried through his falls and his rebirths, then wear that familiar number 1 proudly. Not just in memory, but as a reminder, the rose will always bloom in Chicago, and in the hearts of everyone who loved him.